The ocean isn't just deep, it's weird in ways we're still trying to understand. Down there, a fish grows its own glowing lantern to lure victims straight into its mouth. A shrimp punches so fast it creates shockwaves like underwater explosions. A squid with eyes the size of plates silently watches from the dark like something that definitely shouldn't exist. There are creatures that don't just survive the ocean, they completely break the rules of it. One can rewind its own life, one runs on stolen sunlight, another sees through a transparent head like it's wearing a glass helmet. And the strangest part? We've barely explored it. This is the deep sea, and these are the 10 most bizarre and fascinating creatures living in it. Let's dive in. 1. Anglerfish, the built-in horror lamp. If the deep sea had horror movies, the anglerfish would be the main villain. This creature comes with its own built-in flashlight, except it's not for cozy reading, it's for hunting. A glowing lure dangles from its head, attracting curious fish straight into its mouth like a doomed Uber Eats delivery. The anglerfish lives in pitch-black depths where sunlight never dares to visit. So instead of complaining, it evolved into a walking trap. Honestly, efficient but terrifying. Imagine walking through darkness and suddenly seeing a friendly light, only to realize it's attached to a face full of teeth. And it gets even weirder. In some species, the tiny male literally fuses into the female like a permanent backpack. No dates, no romance, just lifelong attachment. Relationship status permanently stuck. If nature had a "Don't Trust the Vibes" warning label, the anglerfish would come with flashing neon text. Cute light, nightmare outcome. 2. Mantis shrimp, the boxer with supervision. Meet the ocean's most aggressive overachiever, the mantis shrimp. Do not let its small size fool you. This creature punches so fast it literally creates bubbles that collapse with extra force. That is right, its punch is so powerful it causes mini shockwaves. If it hit glass, the glass would reconsider its life choices. But the real chaos begins with its eyes. While humans struggle with 3 color receptors, the mantis shrimp has up to 16. It sees colors we cannot even imagine. Its world is basically a neon art exhibition hosted by reality itself. There are 2 types of mantis shrimp personalities. Smashers, who punch things like underwater boxers, and spearers, who stab prey with terrifying precision. Either way, you are not winning an argument with this creature. Scientists study them not just for curiosity, but for potential inspiration in materials science and optics. Meanwhile, the mantis shrimp is probably just thinking about its next punch. In short, this is the only animal that could knock out a crab and still judge your outfit colors better than you. 3. Giant squid, the real-life sea monster. Deep beneath the ocean's surface swims the legendary giant squid, a creature that once fueled sailor nightmares and probably still does if you think about it too long. With eyes the size of dinner plates, it has the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. Imagine something staring at you from the dark with headlights for eyeballs. These creatures can grow up to 12-13 meters long. That is basically a bus with tentacles. They are incredibly elusive, which is why for centuries people thought they were myths. Turns out the ocean just enjoys keeping secrets. The giant squid uses long feeding tentacles to grab prey and bring it toward a beak that looks like it belongs to a giant parrot crossed with a horror prop. Despite its terrifying appearance, it mostly eats small fish and squid. So yes, the ocean's monster is kind of just a shy noodle with arms. Most of what we know comes from dead specimens and rare deep sea footage. It is the marine version of spotting a celebrity once in your lifetime and never again. 4. Immortal jellyfish, the creature that refuses to die if you ever thought life was unfair. Meet the Turritopsis dohrnii, better known as the immortal jellyfish. This tiny creature has mastered something humans have not even come close to, hitting the reset button on life. When it gets injured, stressed, or basically bored of adulthood, it can revert back to its juvenile form. It is like becoming a baby again, but biologically. Then, it grows up again. And again. Technically, it can repeat this cycle indefinitely, making it biologically immortal under the right conditions. It does not mean it cannot be eaten or destroyed, though it is not invincible, just very stubborn about aging. Think of it as the ocean's version of someone who refuses to accept time passes. The process is called transdifferentiation, where its cells transform into a younger state. Scientists are fascinated by it because it might hold clues about aging and regeneration. Meanwhile, the jellyfish is just floating around, casually ignoring the concept of retirement entirely. 5. Mimic octopus, the master of disguise. The mimic octopus is basically the ocean's best actor, impersonator, and escape artist rolled into one slippery package. While other creatures rely on speed or strength, this octopus relies on pure deception. It can imitate at least 15 different marine species. It has been observed copying lionfish, sea snakes, flatfish, and even jellyfish. It does not just change color like other octopuses, it changes shape, movement, and behavior. It is a method of acting taken to extreme levels. If a predator shows up, the mimic octopus decides what to become based on what will scare it the most. Sometimes it becomes a dangerous sea snake. Other times it becomes something boring enough that predators lose interest. Imagine confusing your enemies so badly they just give up. It lives in sandy coastal waters where hiding is a full-time job. And it is excellent at it. If Hollywood made underwater spies, this would be the lead character with multiple identities and zero trust issues. 6. Blobfish, the internet's favorite ugly icon. Blobfish became famous for looking like it had just given up on life. But the truth is a bit unfair. In its natural deep-sea habitat, it actually looks like a normal fish. The infamous blob appearance only happens when it is brought to the surface and depressurized. At depths of around 600–1,200 meters, the blobfish lives under extreme pressure. Its body is made of a jelly-like mass that allows it to float just above the seabed without much energy. It is basically the ocean's version of a couch potato, but optimized for survival. It does not chase prey. It just waits for food to drift by and eats whatever is unlucky enough to pass close. Very low effort, very high patience. The internet turned it into a meme, calling it the world's ugliest animal, but honestly, it is just misunderstood. If anything, it is the poster fish for I am doing my best under pressure. The blobfish is proof that sometimes looking strange is just a side effect of surviving in extreme environments. 7. Barrel-eye fish, the transparent-headed mystery. The barrel-eye fish looks like it escaped from a science fiction experiment. Its most bizarre feature is its transparent head, which reveals green, barrel-shaped eyes sitting inside like high-tech sensors. Those eyes can rotate upward, allowing the fish to look through its own head to spot prey above. Yes, it literally sees through its skull. Nature really said glass dome mode enabled. It lives in deep waters where light is scarce, so it uses its unique vision system to detect faint silhouettes of prey drifting overhead. Meanwhile, its small mouth is located underneath its body, so it can carefully align itself before feeding. For a long time, scientists misunderstood how its eyes worked because preserved specimens made the structure collapse. Only in recent years did live observations reveal the full weirdness. It is slow, stealthy, and extremely patient. Basically, it is the underwater equivalent of someone watching everything from inside a tinted bubble helmet. 8. Goblin shark, the living fossil with a surprise jaw. The goblin shark looks like it swam straight out of prehistoric times and decided not to update its appearance. With a long, flattened snout and pale pink skin, it already looks unusual. But its real talent is its jaw. When it catches prey, its jaws shoot forward like a spring-loaded trap. It is one of the fastest jaw extensions in the animal kingdom. Imagine a face suddenly launching itself at dinner. It lives deep in the ocean, often far from human interaction, which is probably good for everyone involved. Most sightings happen when it is accidentally caught by fishing gear. Despite its scary look, it is not considered dangerous to humans because it lives too deep to bother us. It is often called a living fossil because it has changed very little over millions of years. Basically, it found a design it liked and stuck with it. If evolution had a do not disturb mode, this shark definitely enabled it. 9. Vampire squid, the vampire that does not drink blood. Despite its dramatic name, The vampire squid is more goth aesthetic than actual vampire. It does not drink blood or hunt aggressively. Instead, it survives in oxygen-poor deep waters where most creatures would struggle. When threatened, it turns itself inside out like a dramatic cloak display, exposing spiny-looking arms to confuse predators. It is the ocean's version of saying, "You cannot hurt my feelings if I look like a haunted umbrella." It feeds mostly on marine snow, which is basically tiny bits of organic material drifting down from above. Not exactly vampire behavior, more like cosmic dust cleaning. It also has bioluminescent organs that can flash light, possibly to confuse enemies or communicate in the dark depths. The vampire squid shows that sometimes survival is not about strength or speed, but about being unsettling enough that nothing wants to mess with you. 10. Leaf sheep sea slug, the solar-powered animal. The leaf sheep sea slug might be one of the cutest and strangest creatures in the ocean. It looks like a tiny green cartoon sheep covered in leaf-like structures. But its real trick is even more surprising. It can use photosynthesis. After eating algae, it keeps the algae's chloroplasts inside its own body and uses them to produce energy from sunlight. Basically, it steals solar power abilities. Imagine eating salad and then becoming a solar panel. This process is called kleptoplasty, and it makes the sea slug partially solar powered for a time. It is like borrowing batteries from food and forgetting to return them. It lives in shallow tropical waters where sunlight is abundant, which is perfect for its unusual energy strategy. Despite its adorable appearance, it is still a slug, so it moves slowly and lives a simple life grazing and sunbathing like it is on permanent vacation. If evolution had a creativity award, this little creature would probably win just for audacity alone.